So thanks everyone for coming to this meeting. Today we will be welcoming two speakers who will be presenting on internships for people with disabilities. So without further ado, our first speaker is Jillian Bradley. She is the co-director of Employment Initiatives for Inclusion BC, and she will be speaking to us about the Mentorability program.
Thank you, Aaron. As Aaron mentioned, my name is Jillian Bradley. I'm the co-director of Employment Initiatives for Inclusion BC. I am presenting to you today from the unceded territory of the Cowichan people. And just a little bit about Inclusion BC is a nonprofit provincial organization that advocates for the rights and opportunities of people with disabilities and their families. So as Aaron mentioned, I'm going to be presenting on one of the programs that is supported through Inclusion BC. So just a little bit about the Mentorability project. It is an opportunity for people with disabilities to explore different careers of choice. It's also a way that people can look at different job opportunities within a job that they're already working in. So as a mentor, it's about talking about your business, sharing about what it is that you do, and a little bit about your story of how you got to that point of your career, by also providing some insight and on how somebody could pursue a career in that field. As a mentor, you also review people's resumes and go through to see if maybe they require any further education or training to make them a more suitable candidate for that role. Some people that go through a mentorship either come out saying, oh yes, this is something that I really want to do. I want to take the advice that was given by the mentor and use that to further my career in this field. Other people go through the mentorship program and after their mentorship decide that it is not a career that they would like to pursue. And then that helps shift them in a direction that they might want to explore further. So a site partner is a community living organization or an organization that provides employment supports to people with disabilities. We call them site partners. And really it's a group of organizations that collaborate together to make this project possible. So as a site partner, you have job seekers that come into your programs, or they could be outside of employment programs and just interested in employment in general. And they come to you looking for direction, or maybe they already have that idea in mind of what they want to do. So typically what I tell site partners when they're coming on is, when you have new job seekers coming into your program, sometimes people come in and they have this dream job and it's this amazing career that they have in mind that they would like, but not quite sure of how to pursue that, or maybe not quite sure if it's fitting. So again, the site partner would set up a mentorship with a local company or a person who's in business, as an opportunity, again, for the person to explore that. As a site partner, we look for people to share their resources. We use Teams, which is an excellent platform. We have about 22 organizations across BC that participate in Mentorability. And it's kind of neat to see, as we've switched to Teams, how people are utilizing that platform to promote their own programs that they do and the projects that they offer within their companies. So there's a few different ways that site partners can use the Mentorability project. Some of the organizations that are members of Mentorability use it as a part of their discovery phase. So like I said, as people are coming in, it gives them, maybe they don't know what they want to do. It gives an opportunity for people to do multiple mentorships if they wish, to figure out really what it is that they're interested in, and if they have the skill and ability to do that job, or if they require some more training and certification. Other organizations use it as not only as kind of for the discovery phase, but as a way to explore career advancement. So we know that a lot of times when people get, sorry, my dog's barking. When people get jobs, they typically stay within that position. So how can we support people to advance into, say, a manager role or kind of the next level within that company? So using Mentorability is a way to explore that and give people an opportunity to see if they would be interested in taking on more, or if they really would like to look at maybe changing the position that they're in to a different position. So as a protege, which is a job seeker, again, it's really all about the experience and exploring what people want and really having a clear understanding of the path that they wish to choose. Being a protege and being part of Mentorability it's such a huge value, and we've had so many great things come out of it. There's people that have decided to go to post-secondary, exploring that path, looking at different jobs that maybe they would have never considered before or thought that they would have the skill and ability to do. So it's really kind of opened up the opportunities in different sectors. We've typically seen people with disabilities in certain roles, and how do we expand that and get people into roles that they really have a passion for and that they want to do. So a mentorship is typically from an hour to a full day. There's no obligation for the employer to hire. It's really about relationship building. And that's not to say people don't get hired after a mentorship. We have had people hired through mentorships. And of course, we're always excited about that, but that isn't the goal of the project. Really, the goal of the project is to support people in exploring their career paths and also expanding capacity within companies to hire people with disabilities and really promote inclusive hiring. So outside of just the mentorship piece that Mentorability does, we also do a lot of workshops and presentations and creation of resources for individuals and families. So one of the upcoming events that I've organized is the Youth Employment Summit. So this, I'm very excited about the Youth Employment Summit. It's great because it's peer-to-peer. I really wanted it to be youth to youth. So the presenters that are part of the Youth Employment Summit are all people between the ages of 16 and 30. And there might be a couple companies that have a representative from that company and also an employee who identifies with a disability who will be presenting on their kind of path to employment, how they got that job, and kind of the successes and the challenges that it took to get the job. So there's employer sessions, there's youth sessions, and there's also post-secondary education sessions. So there's KPU and Steps Forward will be presenting at that. We have a hip hop artist who's doing a session. She wrote a song specifically for this event. And then there's on the third day, which is February 20th, we're having an inclusive career fair. So this is all done virtually. And it is from the 18th to the 20th. But moving on to internships. So this was something that was very exciting for me. Last year when COVID-19 started, it really made me have to adjust my work very quickly and how I would be able to continue the project without being able to do on-site mentorships, which is typically what we do. So I quickly decided to do a sector information sessions. So I have about 12 webinars that I have done that are recorded that people are more than welcome to view. And they're with different sector representatives, and we had used this as a way to continue doing kind of sort of a mentorship, but a little bit longer of sessions, so people could learn about that business, learn about the person, learn about how, again, how they got to that job, and the challenges and successes of that. So out of doing those, I had a couple organizations reach out to me. One was Innovate Bc. So they were doing the Digital Skills for Youth project, and they were looking at how they could expand their reach in the disability community, how they could get more individuals that identify with a disability to access the funding that they had. So they had they got some really great funding to be able to provide internships. They worked out to about $30 an hour, and I was able to do 4. So that was really exciting. That came out of doing that summer series of the sector webinars. And then another one was the AMI, Accessible Media, in Vancouver. They had reached out, and again, they were having challenges recruiting job seekers interested in broadcasting, media type work within their organization. So they have multiple locations, but their Vancouver office, they just didn't seem to get much interest in the project that they had going. So it's an internship that they're offering. It's 5 to 8 weeks, and it's ongoing. So every 5 to 8 weeks, they bring on a new person to go through their internship program. It is paid. Right now it is virtual, but when hopefully things change, it will be on site, and it would be at their Vancouver office. So Mentorability is a project through the Canadian Association of Supported Employment, and they just before Christmas launched their HR Inclusive Policy Toolkit, and I'll send you links to that. It's a really great resource. I've been sharing it with employers that have been reaching out, or everyone that I've been talking to support the Youth Employment Summit, and I've had really, really good feedback. The companies that are doing the internships for Innovate BC, they are typically startup companies, and they don't have a lot of knowledge and experience around inclusive hiring and an inclusive workforce. So they found that really a valuable resource to have. So getting involved in Mentorability, you can go to our webpage, you can reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions, or if you know of anybody who would be interested or see the value in participating in a mentorship, I can definitely support with that. And organizationally, if it's something that you see would be a benefit to the organization that you work for, it's a really great project, and it's really all about collaboration and supporting the increase of employment for people with disabilities, not only just in BC, but in Canada.
Thank you, Jillian.
I have a couple questions. So of the webinars that you did, what sectors are they in, or do they represent?
Okay, so we had Atomic Cartoons. They're a Vancouver company. I think they also have a couple other locations in other countries. So they create a lot of Netflix cartoons, and they do a lot of animation. We had a hairstylist, freelance writer, blogger, a real estate agent, Embers Hirings. They have a few locations, one in Vancouver, Surrey, and Langley, I believe. They'll be at the Youth Employment Summit. A musician, a broadcaster, a banker, a flight attendant, and a TV producer.
Okay. So what about additional Innovation BC mentorships? Are there upcoming ones that people could apply to?
Yeah, so at the Youth Employment Summit, I do have a booth where people can come if they're interested in participating in a mentorship. They can sign up for that. There are a few companies that are participating in the job fair that have offered to do mentorships as well. Typically, when somebody comes in and is interested in a mentorship, if they're attached to an organization, that organization usually would find the mentor for that protege. Unless you don't know anybody in that field, or if a person self-refers, then I help out with that. I don't typically have the conversations with employers, because really the purpose is for organizations to build those relationships within their own community. So it doesn't make sense for me to take that role on when I don't live there. So I have supported organizations by sharing contacts with them, but I really encourage people to do that connection themselves, because again, not only for that organization to build that relationship, but also they know their job seekers, and I don't know people on that personal level. Yes. Oh, sorry, I thought you had your hand up.
Yeah, I do. I was waiting for the chair here to acknowledge the question, but you can do it too. I really love the idea of mentorship. I absolutely believe in it. I'm a bit confused though about the mentorship relationship that you're talking about. Does this take place between an individual within a company or organization and the mentee on an ongoing basis, or is this limited in terms of time? How does the relationship work?
Yeah, so they can really only, the mentorships can only be from an hour to a full day. We don't encourage people to do week-long mentorships, or then it gets into opening a whole other can of worms. But it doesn't mean that a person can't do another mentorship, or you look confused.
I'm confused because of the term.
Yeah, so it depends on the company, where the person's going, how much time that they have to provide a mentorship. Mentorship is that's the initial connection that you have with that company. That's not to say after your mentorship you don't have any connection with them again at all. From a job developer's perspective, that could be a connection that maybe you've tried so hard to get into this employer and they just haven't been interested, or you get the, oh, we're not in a place to be hiring inclusively right now. I mean, you can get all sorts of answers.
Yeah, to be honest, that sounds more like, as you say, a connection.
Yeah, so
rather than a mentorship,
so they can use that as a
different thing, really. The term mentorship means something different from what you are describing. So I think that maybe it's a little confusing.
Okay.
I mean, I love the idea of this opportunity of people being able to explore, make contacts with people within the company so they can learn more about it, and maybe others as well. And I think that's brilliant. I love that idea. But yeah. I think the term mentorship is not appropriate.
Levain, perhaps you could explain how you see the term.
Like, what makes mentorship so valuable in the business world is one where you make a connection, yes, to begin with someone you like and respect, and they're interested in you for some reason, and it becomes an ongoing situation. It's not perpetual. You don't work with that person throughout the time you might end up working in the company, but they're there. If you have a question, you can go there. And it works because it's based on mutual respect and trust, and it's ongoing. And it's something that, to be honest with you, it is the thing that makes most people successful in their work
Mhm.
in the business world. It could be anybody. It could be a manager or supervisor. It could be a fellow senior employee in the same office that you're in, but it's somebody that believes in you and is helping you and that you trust and have respect for. And people who have succeeded in life typically are those who have had some sort of mentor. It is either, it could be within the company, it could be an person outside of the company, it could be a relative, a friend of the family, it could be a teacher that you've met at some point. But at some point along the line, and particularly in a business scenario where it's so difficult for the population we're talking about to succeed, a mentorship relationship is really important. What you're talking about is a short interview, maybe a day-long interview with someone who is willing to offer this person, whoever it is, a conversation, more insight into the field they may have expressed an interest in, but it is not a mentorship, in my view.
That makes sense.
I have two quick questions. The next intake for the accessible media or broadcasting media, you said they're 5 to 8 weeks paid internships. How would people find out about that to apply to the next intake?
Yep. So that's through through the Mentorability project. That's a relationship that I built. So I put it out on Teams. So you'd see it in there.
Okay, and any of our interested members could go through that channel to apply?
Absolutely. Yep. You could just send me an email.
Thank you, Jillian, for your insight.